2/3 of Washington, D.C. residents over the age of 15 are functionally illiterate, according to a state education agency report. So, that's a pretty lousy track record. And so where are they going to look for assistance? Well, you're probably not going to believe this because it almost sounds too absurd. But they went to communist Cuba to take lessons from the dictatorship of Fidel Castro and Raul Castro, the mass-murdering communist dictators who enslaved the nation of Cuba. Now, you might be thinking, that's awfully silly. Why would you go to Cuba for lessons on literacy? And you would be right. That's absolutely absurd. But according to these DC officials, the mayor went down there, the school chief went down there, they said they're going to seek out ideas on strong education and high quality teaching. And even healthcare from this communist dictatorship. Apparently they were very impressed with Castro's ability to supposedly create a fully literate society. Now, during this visit to the prison island, the mayor Muriel Bowser and school's chancellor Kaya Henderson, according to the Washington Post, quote, spoke positively about their school visit in Havana. And so what did they do at this school visit in Havana? Well, it turns out that they had little children singing odes to a communist gangster who helped Fidel Castro enslave Cuba. And they also took turns quoting from Fidel Castro. Fidel Castro, of course, was the previous dictator of Cuba. He handed the keys to the kingdom, so to speak, to his younger brother, Raul Castro, some years ago when he became too old to rule the prison island by himself. Now, Mayor Bowser, the head of Washington, D.C.'s city government, told American journalists on a conference call, and I'm quoting here, "Given Cuba's emphasis on a strong education, I know there's a lot we can learn from each other. There is a focus on teaching here and making sure all citizens have access to high quality teaching." And I kid you not, that is what she told journalists in the United States about her visit to Cuba. Now, by high quality teaching, she presumably meant high quality brainwashing. It's obviously not even that, considering that we've had hundreds of thousands of Cubans fleeing from utopia over to Miami, over to Florida to escape this utopia. So the brainwashing must clearly not be all that effective. The Greater Washington Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, which put together this visit, and also they invited officials from Virginia, high-ranking officials from the state government in Virginia and from Maryland. This Chamber of Commerce put out a press release, and they said that these officials were going to see how, quote, how literacy, graduation, and retention rates and other education successes remain consistently high. Now that is some pretty amazing stuff. As for full literacy, yeah, the Castro dictatorship claims they have full literacy. They also claim to have built a utopia and this paradise on earth and so on, where the average salary is $10 a month. So, you can believe what you want. That's never been independently verified. But even if it were true that Castro managed to achieve so-called full literacy, the idea that American government schools need to go to a communist dictatorship to learn how to teach children to read is absolutely absurd. Now, it may well be true that 2/3 of Washington, D.C. residents are functionally illiterate. Actually, one of the writers for The New American, the late Dr. Sam Blumenfeld, he dedicated his life to this issue of literacy. Him and I co-wrote a book, Crimes of the Educators, where we talk about this in great detail. Basically, what's going on in the American schools is they're teaching children to read English as if it were Chinese. They're literally teaching children to memorize whole words as if they were a Chinese symbol, a symbol in and of themselves. There's a number of different terms for this quackery. They call it the whole word method, the look-say method, the sight word method. So, different terms to kind of conceal what they're doing, but it's really all the same nonsense, and it has been proven to cause lifelong reading disabilities, a hatred of reading, dyslexia, and functional illiteracy en masse. That's why you have in Washington, D.C., 2/3 of the residents over the age of 15 are functionally illiterate. It's no accident. This was deliberate. The people who designed this system understood full well what they were doing. So to fix the literacy problem in D.C., you don't need to be visiting any communist dictatorships and prison islands. You can look much closer to home. The solutions have been right in front of you for generations. Go back to Rudolf Flesch if you want. Read Why Johnny Can't Read. He exposed this 60 years ago, that they were using this quackery in the government schools across the country, and it was mass producing illiteracy. So, there's a lot of things that American government schools need to do different. Having more communism in the classroom is not one of those things. So if you have children in the DC schools, or really in any government schools across America, you need to educate yourself about what's going on there, and you need to protect your children, not have your school officials visit a communist dictatorship to investigate what's going on there.